StitchyTube, settle down and watch StitchyTube. Hey, hey! What's happening, man? Here I am. Where's the year going? It's July. I feel like as a kid, you know, summer was so exciting and you'd get to the end of school and June would just kind of rush by and all of a sudden it was July 4th. And as soon as the July 4th holiday is over, all the back to school stuff shows up in the stores. And so it always felt like once you hit the 4th of July, like summer was over, which is weird because there's kind of 2 months of summer still left, but such is the way of it. I haven't found that to be any different now that I'm an adult and haven't gone to school for a long time. It's been a while since I've had a video posted, and I thank those of you who've reached out to me, and I've gotten a lot of like, hey, I know you're busy, but really miss you on FlossTube. It's been a year. It's been a super crazy year. Everything is good though. So it's not a bad thing that I haven't been making videos. It just means I've been busy. That's all. I kind of knew it was time to probably make another one when my mom called. I think she called me like 5 days ago and she was like, oh, I just kind of needed to see your face, and I went to look to see what your newest StitchyTube was, and it was like 6 months ago, and it had like 20,000 views. And I was like, people probably just keep hitting repeat on that because they're like, maybe if I watch it enough times, she'll make another one. Sorry, guys. Sorry, not sorry. Anytime I'm not making a video, all that means is I'm very busy. And on a Sunday morning, and it has happened, I swear, a number of times in the last 6 months, that I get up on a Sunday and I'm like, okay, so last week was fine. I'll make a StitchyTube today. And then I'm just learning like, hey, maybe you should take a day off now and then. And so if you see I don't make a StitchyTube, it just means I'm telling myself that I need to put my feet up a little bit. But I was kind of feeling in the groove, like I needed to get another one done. I tried to remind myself what the StitchyTube song sounded like, and here I am. I haven't seen you for such a long time that in between then and now, there was Christmas, then there was prep for Nashville Market, then there was Nashville Market, then I went, Nashville Market took a good, that's March and April pretty much, and then May, first part of May, I went to Amana to go to the Farm Girl Retreat with Teresa Kogut. And then when I got home from that, the pallets of Blackbird Design fabrics showed up. So I have almost not even had time to catch my breath in about 6 months. The last week or so has been quieter, and I've kind of been like, a couple of times I was like, maybe I should send a newsletter out. And I was like, shh, maybe they'll think you're not home. So kind of like when the salesman comes to knock on your door, hide behind the couch. So one of the things, as an adult, once your kids are gone, you're like, okay, how do I make myself better? Like, how do I be a better person? How do I take care of myself better? And I went to Nashville Market, and I'm like running back and forth, like picking up orders, selling charts, talking to people. And, when I get there, somebody's like sees me in the elevator, is like, hey, how are you doing this? Meaning like running a business and being a designer and having this huge website. And I was like, oh, you just get up and you start packing orders and you don't stop until you're too tired to go. And and then like a little while later, someone catches me in the hall. Hey, can I ask, how are you doing this? And I'm like, oh, you get up and you do it, and you go to bed and you get up, you do it again, and it's not a big deal. And like, I swear like 10 people that weekend were like, how are you doing this though? And after laughing it off about 8 times, I started to go, maybe this is too much for one person. And, 2 years ago, when Market was in 2020, I had 2 employees, and they since have moved to another state. I have one employee who works sometimes. She's a radiology student. She does a great job, but she's not available very often. So this year for Market, last year, 2021, there was no in-person market. And so it kind of spread the market season out. So this market season was kind of the first like full all the way back to Market. And it's a lot. It's a lot for one person to run down hallways and, you go to Nashville with a full car and you come back with an even fuller car, and you get it all up on the website, and when I got back, so I did market, right? I sold things. I think Briar wants to say hi. She's got a cold. Oops. Are you going to say hi? You want to say hi? She's so cute. She's got a cold. It's being treated. She doesn't like it. She doesn't like the treatment. But, you know. So, come back from market, have all the stuff. When I got back from market, I had 1,000 orders in the queue. And when I printed them all out, it weighed 15 pounds. So that's like 2 reams of paper. That's how many orders I had when I got back. So that's not including the orders that came in subsequently. And it's a lot of orders. And I mean, really the answer is people are like, well, how do you do that? How do you get it done? Because the orders that I receive are also not small. I don't know how many items on average, but it's a goodly amount. And so, you know, the short answer is you print your orders, you go with the one on top, you pick it, and you pack it, and then you go to the next one. And I have a little bit of maybe sometime I'll make a video about how I actually do it. But you just keep going. And like I said, once I got through with the market rush, then I was like, oh, I get to go to Amana. I decided to drive to the retreat, which was really nice. It's very pretty. I thought that way if I find any cool antiques, I can just bring them home. I don't have to, worry about airplane layovers and, canceled flights and anything like that. It's about I think 12 or 13 hour drive. So I did it in 2 legs on the way up and 1 just straight shot on the way home. And it was fine. It was really nice. And then I got home and all the Blackbird Designs fabrics started showing up. So for those of you not in the know, last July, it was announced that Blackbird Designs would have fabrics re-released, that they were re-releasing, and that they were supposed to come out in February, which they did not do. And my rep at the time told me I don't expect them to show up in February, which I was like, thank goodness, because market, I don't know how I would have done it if they had shown up on time. It's just shipping delays, supply chain issues. So they were finally ready, in May is when they started showing up. And I had pre-ordered, and I had a whole bunch of people that pre-ordered the, like fat quarter packs and things like that. And just testing my mouse. There we go. I had a bunch of people who pre-ordered. I got 4 pallets of fabric for starters, not including some loose ends that came ahead of time and then all the fabric that came after. So I purchased probably at least 5 to 6 pallets, like 2 to 3 tons of fabric. And I'm not joking about 2 to 3 tons. It's about a ton per pallet. No, wait, 1,000 pounds per pallet. I got a lot of fabric. And people were like, where are you going to put it? How are you going to do it? And you just do it. You don't worry about the how. You just, when it comes, you just start handling it. That's how it's probably my shabby chic way of doing business. But some of those things you're like, it'll work out. And it did. And so for May, it was even crazier than market month. And it was super fun. My husband helped me get a table set up, and we lifted it up on risers so that it was a really comfortable cutting height for I got a brand new mat to celebrate, a brand new cutting mat, brand new rotary cutter with blades. I've gone through, I wore out one rotary cutter entirely and just threw it in the garbage. And I've gone through a fair number of blades. And tons of boxes. And the orders, the thing about the Blackbird Design fabrics is that they were really nice and people were super excited about it. There was 40 in the line. I still have most of them in stock. There are a handful of them now that I can't get more. Some of them I still have, but I won't be able to order more. And then some just are sold out and I can't get more. I try to keep them marked on my site. But anyway, so some people's orders were a half yard of all 40. So in an order like that, 40 times I have to pick up a bolt, unroll it, cut a half yard of fabric, roll it back up, set it aside. And so they just took forever to pack those orders. And everybody was so, Zero's being so loving. People were so patient. Oh, so patient. And I so appreciate it. Because I was working my butt off. And you know, if you can think of anything you were doing in May, like remember that one time you went to bed early? I was still packing orders. Remember that one time you were making dinner? I was packing orders. Remember, like early in the, I was packing orders then too. I just was packing orders for 6 or 7 weeks, and I got a little punchy towards the end. Not mean, just irritable. And because it had been 6 or 7 weeks going on 8 weeks of just, I had in 5 weeks, during a 5-week span, I took 3 days off, and not entirely. I never really take a day off. I'll always check email or just go see how many orders have come in, make sure there aren't any problems. And so towards the end of it, I was getting a little punchy. So like I said, the last week or 10 days or so have been slower. I got completely caught up with my queue a couple of times. Can't tell you how great I sleep those nights. And it feels great. It feels great to have gotten through it. Everything worked out. People love the fabrics. I still have a lot of it. But like I said, once these things are so, and I'll show some towards the end of my video so you can see them. But anyway, that's kind of what I've been doing. That's why I haven't made a video. It's not because I don't like you. It's not because I forgot about you. It's just, that's what I've been doing. Busy, busy, busy. I did go to the Farm Girl Retreat in May in Amana, and Teresa Kogut was the teacher. She did an awesome job. She's so nice. She's really like one of those people that just makes you feel kind of like a like a troll or something, because she's so nice and so talented. Oh my Lord, what a great lady. And so I went to that retreat. It was super fun. I got to see my good friend Jen from Jen's Stitching Niche, who moved away last December. And you know, now that our kids are gone and Jen is gone and Breadsmith closed, there's nothing good in Hattiesburg anymore. So I don't know how much longer we'll be here. We're kind of tentatively starting to make plans about what we want to do in 2 years. Right, Zero? You gonna go with us? So funny story from the Teresa Kogut retreat. I sat next to Teresa Kogut when she would, you know, sit down for a minute. And she had asked me for logo advice, I think once or twice, or just who I used for my logo. And she mentioned that she ended up designing her own logo. And, you know, she didn't really say much about it. We just chit-chatted about this, that. And I was like, you know, have you ever thought about doing a design like with a hand with like a heart in it? And she looked at me like, just kind of, she was like, yeah, I mean, I guess, maybe. And I was like, I just feel like that's just kind of your vibe. I feel like it's a real folk arty, you see like the, you know, hand with a heart inside it. She was like, yeah, okay. So I was like, then she just got real quiet. And so then I was like, oh, I did that thing that designers probably hate. You get a lot of people who say, you know what you should design? And then they give you an idea. And you just get a lot of that. And some of them are good ideas. And some of them are like, oh, it's not really my thing. So I was like, I totally just told her like what we ought to design. I should know better. So I was like, okay, I dropped it. Well, so then she announces her project. I got all kinds of show and tell, by the way. She announces her project, which turns out to be this. I did not see it ahead of time. She did not tell me about it. This was literally her design for the retreat. This is the box that the kit came in. I haven't started it yet, but it's super cute. This is not available yet. I don't know the story on it. Don't ask me. I'm assuming at some point in the future it'll become available. Usually it takes a year for retreat pieces. Super cute though, huh? Coincidentally, I wonder if it's not in here anywhere. I don't know. Her new logo is a hand with a heart in it that she drew. She was like, get out of my head. I don't know. I just got that vibe from her. And it's not like she was wearing a t-shirt or anything. And it came out of the blue. I don't know why I asked that of her. It was just kind of one of those spooky ooky moments. Speaking of spooky ooky moments, I have a ghost story. So, you know, I own a lot of old samplers. And I don't have this one out to show you. I'll show it to you sometime. I got an old sampler made by a woman named Ruth Knapp. You know what? It's just over there. I'll grab it. I don't want to answer emails about it. I'm still here. Hang in there. Gotta just find the right drawer. Oh, I got it. Okay. I got it. I have an anchor cabinet, floss cabinet that I store my antiques in, the ones that are loose. Okay, so this sampler I bought on eBay recently, you know, like this spring sometime. I think it's really cool. I love the cartouche with the bird at the top. I love the guy at the bottom with the basket on his head and the peacock. And the border is just really airy and sweet. Very springy. So I will reproduce that sometime. Don't ask me when. I don't know. I'm showing it to you so you can know the story. Okay, so her name was Ruth Knapp. Done at I'm assuming St. Bennett's School maybe, or S. Bennett's. So I got this in the mail. I opened it up. I took it out. And I was like, you know, looked it over. And I was like, oh, that's such a neat sampler, whatever. Didn't think another thing about it. Packed orders all day. Just want to make sure I'm still recording. I am. Good. Oop, wait a minute. Testing. Okay, I don't know. I had a panic attack because I saw something on my computer that made me believe that it was not recording the sound. But it is recording the sound. That's like just the worst. I've done that a couple times. Okay, so back to the ghost story. I feel like I should have a flashlight under my chin and dim the lights. So I got this sampler in the mail, went back to work. My husband, I think it was getting near finals or something. So we just, you know, just casual day. Went and talked to him. He was on the computer. It was going to be kind of late. And I was like, you know, I'm going to go to bed. So I put my pajamas on and went to bed. And he was like, okay, I'm just going to, you know, ding around here on the computer for a little while longer, right? So I went and brushed my teeth, went and, you know, got in bed, shut the lights off, rolled over on my side, you know, kind of snuggled into my pillow trying to get to sleep. And then Steve comes in the room and he goes, are you still awake? And I go, yes. And he goes, I just saw a ghost. And I was like, what? And he said, I was at the computer. And I was like, you know what? I should also go to bed. And he said, I pushed back from the computer and turned to the hall. And there was a woman in the hallway in like a white night shirt that went down to like her knees or lower. And she had long hair. And I looked at her and she kind of did this and then ran to the side. And I thought it was you. So I was like, hey. And I got up and I looked and no one was there. And I was like, plus I was wearing sweats and a t-shirt. So he was like, so then I went and looked and nobody was there. She was gone. And I was like, oh, I never thought about all these old samplers in the house, like that there would be a ghost. So I don't think either one of us really slept that night very well. And so Ruth may be in here somewhere, or he may have scared her and she's back in England somewhere. I'm not really sure. Anyway, that's our ghost story. Isn't that crazy? Okay, so I'm going to spare you a lot of the last 6 months. That was just a brief rundown. That was a 15-minute rundown of 6 months worth of life. And we're going to just pick up like I was here last week. So let's talk about some things that I finished in the last 6 months. And it's kind of good. Maybe I should wait every 6 months because then it feels like I get stuff done. And, you know, then I have lots of show and tell. So this one is called Asenath, Asenath, Whitcomb, Whitcomb, by Carriage House Samplings. It's not a new one. I think it is a reproduction, but I think the original model was stitched in blue. I stitched mine in black. Look at how cool it is. Ooh, it smells good. It smells kind of good. So it's framed really tight. My frame shop is learning that I like things very tight. And you can see, whoops, up here, I worked my name in. It was this, I think it fit in the same space as Asenath Whitcomb, whose name is in this area. So this was a project that I would take, like when Graham was little and he would go to the dentist, I would take it and then just stitch a few letters. And there it is. And it's really cool. It's one color. It's a one color thing, so it's perfect for waiting rooms. And letters just really don't demand that much attention. The chart is still available. I do carry it. And I stitched mine in antique black Gloriana on just a piece of tea or coffee dyed linen. I started it so long ago. I wish I knew. I mean, Graham is 25 now. Yikes. I probably started this 15 years ago. Anyway, it's done now and framed, and it looks really, really cool. And I have it with 2 sawtooth hangers on the back so that when I hang it, it hangs on the wall nice and straight. I don't know why I'm so paranoid about the sound tonight. Okay, so there's that. Another one that I finished, and I don't know that these are all that I finished. I know these are FFOs that I have had. I could have more, I don't know. It's been a long time. This one is Garden Vegetables by Kathy Barrick, also still available. So this is not a Carriage House Samplings chart, it is a Kathy Barrick chart. This one's in my shop. Maybe I just smell good, I don't know. And I just really like this one. I don't normally like things that are like matchy-matchy. But I love to stitch words, and I liked just that, I don't know, there's something just really charming about this planting, you know, chart about how far apart to plant. So it's like got the vegetable name, the depth in inches, I'm assuming. It's got it here. Germination is the days for the seeds to germinate. And M is maturity. This is in weeks to maturity. Wow, asparagus takes 165 months? That can't be right. That'd be crazy if it is. I gotta eat more asparagus. I gotta eat less asparagus. And then what month to sow it in. I don't garden. I go to the grocery store. But I like the idea of gardening. But that one's real, real pretty also. Okay, and then I went to the Brenda Gervais retreat in Amana last fall. And this pattern is not yet available. I'm assuming sometime it will become available. I don't have any other information than that. It is called Fuzz. Santa Stop Here, I think it was called. And it turned out really super cute. I really liked this little scene with the snowman and the Santa and the little tree with the candy canes on it. Really, really cute. And just a little vintage frame. I mean, it's a new frame, but kind of vintage looking from Neblets here locally where I get my frames. Really, really cute. Little, I think there was supposed to be a bow on that. I must have forgot to put it on. But the wreath has got little seed beads on it. So that was really cute. And the pièce de résistance. Hannah Pepper. Hannah Pepper! Gotta slide way back here so you can see it. She finished it. Look at how pretty it is. I'm going to slide closer so you can see it. This is so pretty. And I did not do it in the colors called for. I just picked some threads in my stash and stitched it in antique looking colors just like the original. I didn't want it to be bright like with cherry red and gold. I wanted it to be kind of dull and dim looking. And so this line here and here in the original are filled with birds stitched over one. They almost look like they're sitting on a telephone line. I stitched my name with the date because I didn't feel like stitching a bunch of birds over one. I had already stitched 2 pretty big verses over one, and that was the thing that was really holding me up on the sampler. And it's done, and it looks great, and I enjoy it, and I'm so glad I finished it. If you are looking for the chart, this is not one that I carry. Sometimes you can find it on eBay or Etsy. It was in Fine Lines magazine over the course of 4 issues. I think I might have them here somewhere. Sorry I keep getting up. I should have been more prepared, but I haven't done this for a while. No, now I don't see them. So I think if you look for Hannah Pepper Fine Lines, you should either be able to figure out which issues it was in or even find it on eBay. They're not always available. It's long, long, long out of print. But I know that they do come up on eBay sometimes and Etsy. And you can just ask Stitching Friends if they have the charts. I had heard different times like, oh, there's issues with the chart. There's problems with the chart. I have no idea what those would have been. I never ran into any area where I was like, oh no, this is wrong. So either I'm so wrong that it turned out okay. I don't know how that happened, and I don't know what the issue was. Turned out okay for me, I guess. So that was that. So super excited to get some of those done. A scene that, like I said, was a long-standing project. Lord, Hannah Pepper. I mean, that had to also be 15. I'm trying to think. Probably, yeah, I mean, probably 15 years ago I started that one also. So to finish them both up this year was really, really grand. It crossed a couple of big ones off my list, which is always great, right, Zero? He says right. Okay, and I am working on a couple of things currently. Okay. I have things kind of all over the place, so trying to, what's this? Okay, that's that. All right. So this is not ironed. Sorry, not sorry. Don't like to iron. Land That I Love by Teresa Kogut. I took this to the retreat and started stitching it there. And let's see. So I'll show you the, this chart is available. It's not too old. I think it came out 2 years ago or so. It looks like that. And I really like this one, and I can't wait to get to the houses. That's the kind of the part that I'm really looking forward to. One thing that I have done a little bit is like this alphabet here at the top. Can you see it? I've done it in eyelet stitches, and it mostly works out okay. I think there's a couple areas where there's a a block of 2 by 3 instead of just 2 by 2. So you just kind of fudge it a little bit. And I also added some, in this area, I added some satin stitches with 2 strands of floss in the centers with this dark blue here. I did satin stitches just to kind of give it some texture. It's really been fun to work on. The fabric that I'm using is 40 count tea set by Graham Cracker Fabrics. It's fabric that my son dyed. I do have 36 and 40 in stock right now. I do not have any 32 coming anytime soon. But if you like 36 or 40, I've got some. But it's really nice. I'm stitching it in the called for threads and really, really fun. I don't typically stitch a lot of patriotic stuff. I really liked the folk art look of that one. And it's not that I don't like it. It just always seems like such a fleeting holiday. And then where's the other one? So I'm working on this series by Brenda J. Summer Schoolhouse Lesson 1 is I started with number 1, which how cute is this little strawberry thing here? So this shows you all of them together. Isn't that neat? Super, super cute. Oh, I like this little thing full of strawberries. So let me see where I put the, I brought it. It's somewhere. I tell you, I have a lot of show and tell. Oops, there goes my mouse. Is it in here? I guess I don't know where it is. I'll try to maybe include a picture at the end of the show or something. Maybe I don't know where it ended up. So that's what I'm working on. And then I also am working on stuff for Expo. There's not a needlework show in the summertime or fall, but there is Needlework Expo, which is an online wholesale show only. So I've been working on, on top of filling orders and all that, I'm also a designer. So I have designs with model stitchers, and I've been getting some back from the frame shop already. I am working on 2 books. The first one to come out will be a marking sampler book, and I don't have a release date for that. So that I got 3 back from the frame shop this week. Mwah! Lovely. It's going to be super fun. I can't wait to start putting that together. And so that'll be similar to my Red Letter Day book, but it'll be marking samplers. I will have another Red Letter Day book called Another Red Letter Day, but that'll be in the future sometime. And then, so I've been working on getting some things charted. I'll show you. So this is one that I'm charting now, and I thought out of the blue, I was like, why not share it with you guys, right? So this is one that I bought a while back. I took it out of the frame to start reproducing it. How pretty is this? It's so pretty. Look at the trees. Look at this tree. Have you ever seen a tree like that? I think it's so cool. Mary Williams in 1818. It's got a lot of just charm oozing out of everywhere. Love it, love it, love it. Now, the verse is hard to read, and of course I'll make some adjustments with the actual graph, but I will read it to you. It is a standard. It's kind of like it'd be like, what's a standard song? I don't know. Ain't misbehaving, I guess. So the verse is, favor is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her. And that's a pretty common one that you see on samplers. A couple of things I really like about this. I like that it's not too matchy-matchy. It's a little bit different left to right. The house is pink, and the bricks are stitched. Well, it's kind of hard to see, but it's like three stitches and then no stitches. 3 of no stitches, right? So it's like alternating some bricks and then no bricks in kind of a checkerboard pattern. So you really only have to stitch half the house, kind of. I love the skinny door. I love the cartouche at the bottom. I love these pots. I love all of it. And, you know, one of the cool things about reproducing is once you take it out of the frame and you really start digging through it, you're like, oh, I didn't notice this. So, like, you know, you see all of her little, the border pattern here. And on the right-hand side, she used pink for the tips. And see, it's stuff like that what is it? Kyle always says, like, this tickles every one of my fancies. I just love it. So anyway, that's a sneak peek for you. My friend Kathy is going to be stitching it, and I don't know when it will be out, but it will be out as soon as it can. Oh, and, you know, when I took it out, I don't often find anything fun, but I did find this when I took it out of the frame. I got to see it. It says G. Jones Maker, Ross. And then it says like F-E-A-T, like featuring Maker. And it looks like they started to write sampler or something. I'm not sure. But anyway, someone put their handiwork on there, and it had these kind of cool twill. I'm assuming to kind of keep everything straight. I don't know that I will ever be able to get it off this frame. It was tacked on with rusty nails, as it often is, and somebody who framed it again put even more tacks in the edges, and I just feel like it would be really risky to try to take it off. It's got a little bit of loss here and there, but overall is in very good shape. I can't wait to see this one done. It's going to be stitched in silks on extrude fabric. Once again, awesome, awesome. Okay. Working on 2 books. Oh, okay, so another coming soon. You know, last year I did an advent calendar. And from time to time, I'm still getting emails from people who say, can I get signed up for this year's advent calendar? I missed last year's. There's no advent calendar this year. I'm not doing another one anytime soon. I like to kind of keep things fresh, and I always have a lot of ideas. So I have other things in the works. But coming super soon is another in the I don't want to belong to another club kit thing that I do. You know, there are a lot of shops that do clubs where you sign up and you get like 4 kits throughout the year. I've been asked to do a few of those as a designer, and while they're always fun, sometimes they come with stipulations about the size or the fabric or the theme. And so a couple of years ago, I just told a bunch of my needleworky friends, like, hey, if you ever want to do a club piece for me, like outside of a club, I would love to have one. And so coming soon from the Primitive Hair, one of my favorites, is an I don't want to belong to another club kit. And what the name of the club means is you don't really join the club. I will make an announcement via my newsletter. So if you don't already get my newsletter, go to my website at www.KittenStitcher.com and look in the lower right-hand corner. And there'll be a little sign up there for the newsletter. You just put your email address in and click the button, and you're signed up to go. I have 1,000, so that's a lot. I only did 600 advent calendars, so the things that I'm working on now, I'm making even greater quantities. This one is awesome. I know everyone is going to love it. Brittany is just helping me finish up the last of the thread kits. The kit will come with the pattern, the exclusive pattern, which is sampler themed, and hand-dyed fabric in 30 count, and the threads. And I don't have a final price on it yet, but if you just sign up for my newsletter, you'll get a newsletter as soon as it's available. and it'll be kind of a first come, first serve kind of a thing. Everybody's going to love it. Everybody is going to love it. So that's coming soon, and I have other things in the works, but I'm not going to announce any of those as they are farther off. Okay, page 2. 0. They're not getting to look at your pretty face today. Oh, Stash Flash. Okay, so I buy things too. You know, I know a lot of people do show off their stash, things they've bought online and whatnot. And I buy things too. Not necessarily the same kinds of things that you do, but they're still fun to look at. So a lot of my samplers I get online. I go to a website called Live Auctioneers, and I buy some from there. And then I also just kind of watch eBay, and I check usually a couple of times a day just to see what's up. It's always interesting, even if I'm not going to bid on something. It's fun to see like what's out there, because there's so many kinds of samplers. So this one night, my husband and I are sitting on the couch, and I had my phone, and I was like, oh, I'll check eBay. So I was like flipping through. I was like, I don't know if anybody watched The Simpsons. Homer Simpson is reading the classifieds, and he comes across an ad for a free trampoline, and he keeps saying trampoline, like he gets so excited he can't say trampoline. It was kind of like that kind of a moment for me. And so anyway, this person listed a sampler as a buy it now for $2.99, not $2.99. And it was a seller who it looks like has just kind of a vintage flea market-y kind of a eBay store, just miscellaneous things. One of the other things that he was selling was a whole bunch of World Wrestling Federation plastic figurines. So this was not a guy that was dealing in fine antiques. I'm assuming he found this at an estate sale or a garage sale or something like that. But he posted it as a buy it now, and like 5 minutes later I bought it because I was like, I could not buy it fast enough. He had it way underpriced for what it is. I took it out of the frame because I thought it would be fun to show you. I have to be super careful because there is some loss towards the bottom. So you can see the loss there at the bottom, but the threads are holding it together. This is an absolutely beautiful sampler. And I don't know that I've ever seen a border like that. You know, a lot of times people, when they list samplers online, it'll say stunning. This stunning sampler, and it'll be like a tiny little marking sampler that's with a bunch of knots on the front. This one is stunning. Like, I was like, what can you even say about a border like that? And it is perfectly stitched. And just all the little motifs. I'm sure the count on this one is like 60 count. The verse is over 1. It's got a lot of really little great elements, as you can see. And here's the interesting thing about it. In addition to this being expertly stitched, I don't see any problems in the verse, misspellings, crowded words, things kind of fixed, like stitched over, overlapping threads, anything. This area at the bottom where the name should go is completely blank. And I mean completely. I cannot see any evidence that a name was ever stitched in that area. I find it hard to believe that a student would, first of all, have the capacity to get through a pretty impressive sampler in the way that she did and not slap her name in there. And I wonder, I'm not saying this is what it is because it came with no other information. I almost wonder if this was a teacher's sampler, or that an adult stitched it and left the name out as it was going to be used by girls as, something to look at while stitching. That's the only thing I can figure, because I just don't know why you would go to all that work and then not put anything in there. And there's nothing. Somebody wrote the number 2705 on the back. I don't know what that means. It might have been a lot number at a previous sale. It came in a little frame that was no big deal, but this is an amazing sampler. Again, I don't know when I will be reproducing this one. This one is one I would reproduce. There's not much in terms of there aren't problems. I mean, it's stitched really nicely. It's very fine, And there's just that stitching over one in the verse, but otherwise there's not really any specialty stitches. It's just that the cross stitching is pretty advanced. Look at even just how beautiful this line is here. There's a horn, and there's a little bridge. There's a bird in a hoop, and this is a harp over here, or a lyre, I guess maybe. It's amazing. It's an amazing sampler. I would put it probably between 1830 and 1850 would be my guess, but you just never know. Anyway, I had to share that one as part of like what I bought recently. Okay. Then I went to Amana, and one of the cool things in Amana is all the little antique shops. And because they're Midwest antique shops, everything is reasonably priced for the most part. And so I actually, to get stuff out for this video, went into the boxes that I have not looked at since I set them on the floor when I got back like 7 weeks ago. Like some of them still were in the original bags. So I pulled a couple of things that I just thought were cool. Now that I'm producing books, I do look for props to use for my photography. And I found these two little darling just irons. I think this one is maybe more like a child size iron. And it's pretty cool because you can flick this little hook here, and then the bottom comes out and it says Dover Sad Iron. That's for me. I'm sad when I'm ironing too. But this part's the iron part, or the steel part. It's very heavy. And this one just says Ober, and it's 3. They're both really heavy, but I really liked the shape of them and the size. They're not too big. And this one actually I felt was interesting because it makes you want to hold your... I picked it up a few times and I was like, wow, I just want to hold my wrist straight. Which when I think of ironing, I think we hold our irons, kind of with our... But this has really got a nice weight to hold it out and in a straight line. I don't know. It's just well designed, I believe. I got a couple of these. I don't have a tomato collection, but I've kind of wanted one. And I want them to be just the right amount of grungy and not, I don't know. These were two that I really liked that I came across. When I was pulling all this out, there was a bag with some tissue in it. I only paid $6 for these. When I was a little girl, and we would go to the mall, I don't know how old these are. We would go to a store called Hatches, and it was our Hallmark store in the West Acres Mall in Fargo. And they had all kinds of little tchotchkes and collectibles. And they had a shelf that was always just the tiny little like ceramic animals that were very carefully painted. Things like horses and tigers and, cats and dogs and things like that. And I never bought one. I didn't have a ton of spending money. I did start babysitting at 10. But a lot of my money went to, I just didn't have extra spending money to buy decorations, I guess. I would use it for the movies or to go to the pool or whatever. So anyway, this was $6 for this little set. I have a couple of little shelf things. I just love these little owls. They're so, so cute. And like I said, I never got any, but every time we would go to that store, I would carefully look at all of the little animals. And I just thought they were just the neatest things. Just like you, Zero, you're neat. I also got she had a whole bunch of these. I almost asked her like how much just for all of them. I got a bunch of bone buttons. I like good quality old buttons. I don't want the plastic ones. I want like, bone or shell or wood. Oops, sorry, Zero. Sorry. So I got some of those. She also had these cool little drawers that had numbers stamped on the end. And again, these could be really great little props. I got number 3 and I got number 6. And I think these were the only 2 she had left. But I guess there was a woodworker in Amana. And he had an estate sale. I think he passed away. And she said all of his stuff sold so quickly because he was really a great woodworker. And so these are really neatly made boxes. I'm assuming they were probably like for nails or screws or some of those things. You can tell they're kind of workshop boxes, and I love a good patina. I do. I love patina. Did I have anything else? Oh yeah, okay, so here. Oop. I want to tip things over. Oh, there's my Okay, so one of the things I want to work on this weekend for 4th of July, I am taking the weekend off except for obviously making this video, and I did some other things, but that's okay, is I have this book, Tending the Garden by Blackbird Designs. You can still find this on Amazon, and it's not too expensive. I think you can get it for like 25 to 30 bucks. So this is just kind of a neat book, and my mom is talking about making me a quilt to replace one that she made for me, like, gosh, almost 30 years ago. That's just threadbare now. It was just a log, I mean, not just, it was a log cabin quilt done in purples, and it's so threadbare now that, like, I just don't use it. It wasn't really quilted properly. It was kind of when you just go through and you, like, make it, you take DMC floss and you just tie a little knot in a few places. So it's just beat up. But anyway, this is a book that I had. So she was like, well, do you have any ideas on like what kind of a pattern? It can't be too difficult because she doesn't quilt that often. So I was looking through some of my books and I found this project in here. And I thought, oh my gosh, how cute is that? It's got some applique and some quilting, and there's not too much to it. It's 60 inches across. And I just thought it looked like a really fun project to do. I love red, and it's very much like a cherry cobbler red, like a good cherry red, right? And so that was really cool. So they have in the instructions, like, you know, which they used 4 different fabrics from the Blackbird line that was called Cinnamon Spice. Well, that came out a long time ago. And okay, so it ends up being 24 by 60 inches. And here's another picture of it just on a table so you can get how pretty. It's so pretty. Taupe and cherry. I mean, I'm just all about that. Super into blue these days right now too. So on a whim, I Googled the fabrics, and not by the name, but by the number. Because if you look at some of these quilt patterns, they will say, like in this one, it says 1 yard each of 2 tan prints. And then it's got 2702-24, 2701-24. So I just Googled Blackbird Designs fabric 2702-24. Maybe I put Cinnamon Spice in there. And by golly, I found some. I found 2 quilt stores that had 3 of the 4. I mean, between the 2 of them, I was able to get 3 of the 4 called for fabrics. The other one is just a red zigzag, and I'll just see what I can find. The name of the quilt stores were Prairie Rose Quilt Shop and Roberts Sewing Center. And they had very similar websites. I already received the first one, and then the second one is on the way. But they also had other discontinued Blackbird design fabrics. And I was like, awesome. So this is one of them that's required for the project, which is just a little, this is from the Cinnamon Spice collection. Right, Zero? And then I got some other ones too that they had still in stock that were discontinued. I thought this one was so pretty. So pretty. And this one, which actually I may use for the project. I could even use it, I think, for that, the cherry zigzag. This one, really pretty. Probably should have bought more of that one. This one I think is from the it's like Blueberry Crumble series, maybe. And then this one. And then the other store I got just about as many other fabrics too. I think the other store had 2 of the 3 fabrics. So I'm super excited that I was able to find the fabrics. I'm not a person that is necessarily like, oh, I got to have exactly what it calls for. I just thought it'd be fun if they had it. And they're still at the old pricing, so they're like $10.99 a yard, which I'm super happy about that. So I was very, very excited to get those. Okay. All right, okay. So that's my stash flash, right, Zero? Right, Mister? Am I still okay? I'm still recording. Okay. All right. What am I all into? I bet you've been wondering for 6 months what I'm all into. I'm all into iced tea. So when we moved here, somebody sent me a funny email about the South. And one of the things it said about the South, that the recipe in the South for making iced tea, the amount of sugar is not in cups, it's measured in inches at the bottom of the pitcher. And my husband immediately got into iced tea, and I think my older son Harrison got into iced tea a little bit. But I was never really, I don't know. To me, I'm not super into iced tea. It tastes like brown water with sugar in it. For whatever reason, I didn't enjoy it. But I was at the grocery store like a month ago, and I saw, it wasn't this brand, but it's like the half lemonade, half iced tea. And I was like, that is what I need, is for it to be some lemonade and some tea. Love it. And I was writing notes for the show here. And I was like, what is it called again? That kind of tea where it's like half lemonade, half tea. And at first I was like, I think it's called like Jack Nicholson tea. And then I was like, wait a minute. Jack Nicholson is the actor. That wouldn't be tea. That would be like bourbon or something. Like it would have to be some kind of a cocktail. I feel like it's called an Arnie Palmer, or an Arnold Palmer, the golfer. And so you can actually find it at the store where it's pre-made. My husband's like, I could make some, and it's like, it's okay. They make it already made. He likes his just iced tea, and I like it with a little bit of lemon in it. It just kind of needs that brightening up. I am all into swimming right now. Yes, I am. And I'm a person that I suffer from a chronic pain condition, and I take medication for it, which helps a ton. I work a little bit too hard, which doesn't help at all. And we've lived in this development for 16 years, and we have a pool we can use. And last summer, I ordered a swimsuit with the intention of going to the swimming pool, and I never did it. And so this year I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go to the swimming pool. And so there was one night, like a month and a half ago, where I told Steve, or a month ago, I'm going to the pool. And he goes, you're what now? And I was like, I'm going to the pool. And he was like, really? And I was like, yep. And I was like, do you want to go? And he was like, maybe. And so he like went and threw a pair of shorts on because he didn't even have a swimsuit. So we went to the pool. It's a nice pool. And the nice thing about a pool is all of like my pain just seems to I get in the water and it just goes away, and I can easily exercise, and it doesn't hurt my joints, and I feel great. I feel like I don't need as much sleep. I feel like my pain levels have decreased. I don't know that I've lost weight, but I do feel like I'm toning up for sure, and it's getting easier to swim. So I just swim back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. That's what I do. And so I'm all into swimming. And so if you've got the capability, I suggest you go for a swim. Okay, I'm all into boundaries. And historically, I've had problems with boundaries. I'm kind of a people pleaser. I'm just wired that way. It's all I remember from as little as I was always that way. I just kind of really like to help people. And when people told me good job and like thank you, it gave me a little bit of rush, and I wanted to do it more. So I'm working on setting boundaries with people, but not in a bad way. Not like, hey, get lost, sucker. It's more just like people will make a request, and I now can say, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have time for that, or I can't easily put that together for you, and I'm learning to say no, not for the sake of saying no, but like when I'm up to here with orders and somebody wants to add to my pile, historically I would have added it to my pile and just gone to bed later, and it's not good. So I'm learning to say no. I'm learning to ask for things when I need them rather than just not. And it feels really good because the more I do it, the better I get at it. And I think, I can't speak for men because I'm not a man, but I think a lot of women are happy to oblige even when it is not in that person's best interest. And I think it's good to be helpful, but I also believe that you have to take care of yourself too. And sometimes when you help too many other people, you end up not helping yourself. So one of the persons that I'm setting the most boundaries with these days is myself. And I'm getting better at it. And it improves my mood for me to be able to say, sometimes I will say out loud, Teresa, this is ridiculous. You need to stop working for today. And it's great. And so if you historically have had trouble with boundaries, give it a try. It's not as bad as you think it'll be. Sometimes people are disappointed when you can't help them. And it's just like, well, sorry, I can't help you. And that's okay. So I think boundaries are a good thing. And I'm learning it gets easier with time. The more you do it, the better you get at it. And once again, it's not an angry thing. It's just like I can't do everything kind of a thing. I'm all into Ohio, and I don't mean the state. It is only handle it once. And so I'm not always successful with this. But one of the things I try to keep in mind when I'm working each day is that concept of only handle it once. So let's say I bring in the mail one day and my business bills are on the counter. I might go, oh, I need to remember to take those to my office later and put them away. Well, now I'm going to come back through again and go, oh yeah, I have to do that again. I have to do that still. And then I might come through again and be like, oh shoot, I keep forgetting to just do it the first time. Only handle it one time. And then you're done. And so I try to check my email multiple times a day and answer all the questions that are there. Sometimes one will get buried if I've got a bunch of tracking numbers in the way. I'm starting to divide my email into different folders too, but it's just that idea of only giving something attention the one time that it needs it, and then you just discard ever thinking about it again. It's very helpful. So another thing that I'm all into, I don't always watch FlossTube because, and I think I've explained this before, I live, eat, breathe, sleep, cross stitch, and needlework. I live in it. I live in a shop essentially. I spend most of my hours working with needlework. And so even as much as I love everybody on YouTube, sometimes also listening to it while I'm doing it in a house full of it is too much. And so sometimes I'll put on podcasts or other things too to keep me just keep me listening while I'm doing work. So I was maybe like a week or 10 days ago, I told my husband about it afterwards. Something popped up on my video on YouTube, and I was like, gosh, that is so interesting. It was some kind of an artisan something where they specialized in working with antique, blah, blah, blah. And they worked with something in the old way. And it was very like vintage and artsy. And I was like, it would be so interesting to have a job like that. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. I do have a job like that. It wasn't that particular thing, but it was the idea of like something connected to history where it was artsy fartsy. And I'm so lucky. Like, I'm so lucky that I get to, because I'm into it. Like, I think it's really cool that people, can sing songs from the 1500s or play interesting old instruments or read dead languages. Like, all that stuff is so cool. So I'm lucky to be doing what I'm doing, because I do think it's really neat. There are a couple of channels that I have taken to watching a little bit here and there. I'll put links below. One of them is called Boy Lie Hobby Time. And I don't know if it'll appeal to all y'all, but it's a younger whippersnapper kind of guy. I don't know how old he is. I don't think he ever shows his face, but he takes old model kits, like plastic models, like there used to be airplanes and cars and things. He'll do like Star Wars ones, but he has this whole series where he does this old Western dusty town, including like a railroad and everything. But it's like if the Old West met kind of like the mechanical age. It's kind of hard to describe. It's not really like steampunk, but it's sort of along that line. And it's amazing what he does to make these little kind of just little vignettes and models and things. So he's really good. He's got kind of a dry sense of humor, but I find him enjoyable. I think he's pretty smart. And then the other person I just started watching again in the last couple of days has a channel called Transcend Furniture Gallery. And I think she's up in Canada, and she will take like really old cruddy furniture and like strip everything down and fix the cracks and caulk the joints and, fix the hardware and everything, and she'll just make like a brand new piece of furniture out of it, and it looks like completely updated and saved. And I think that's really enjoyable too. That's what I'm all into this week. Okay, last time I had a giveaway 6 months ago, I think it was like December, like the first part of December maybe. Rebecca Brigham won the drawing for a $25 gift card to my shop. So Rebecca Brigham, please get a hold of me at my email address below, and I will tell you how to redeem your gift card. The answer that she gave was just Russian tea cakes, and I think I had asked everybody what their favorite Christmas cookie was. That's how long ago it was. We were talking Christmas cookies. The sad thing is, now that it's the 4th of July weekend, I know that next time I go to Hobby Lobby, the Christmas stuff will be out. Like, that's how long it's been since I made a video. I'm so sorry. For next time, for the chart of your choice, what is a favorite summertime activity that you had as a child? And it doesn't matter what it is. That's just how you enter. I will pick an answer at random. I kind of thought of talking about this earlier, but now that I'm thinking about it again, one of the memories that I have is the utter terror and fear of being pressured into trying water skiing. My cousin Darcy had a lake place that I spent a lot of time at, and it didn't happen too often that we would get, talked into, going water skiing, but we were on the boat a fair bit. And then we had other family friends too with lake places with, speed boats with water skis. And I'm artsy fartsy. I'm indoorsy. I'm not athletic, really. I did a lot of sports as a young person. I wasn't good at any of them. I remember one time dribbling the ball. Like I got a rebound in basketball in like 7th grade, and I like turned and our basket was down and I just start dribbling and my coach goes, "Teresa, stop. Like he didn't even want me to and I missed. I mean, I got all the way down and I missed. It was my one chance for infamy and I blew it. But anyway, I was not particularly athletic. I danced. That was about it. But I did everything. Swimming lessons, basketball, golf. I'd never played soccer, but I played volleyball, softball, you name it. Took swimming lessons, all the whole 9 yards. So anyway, I'm a nervous person. I'm an anxious person. I was an even more anxious kid. And there's something kind of terrifying about just the lake in general. That there are fish in there that you don't know. There are clam shells in the bottom of the lake. You step on those and you cut a big gouge in your foot. And then to strap on just these old-timey skis. I mean, this was back in the 70s and early 80s. And so the water skis were big and bulky and heavy, and they just were big and heavy, and they would get the, jet ski, and other people would go and they'd be like, "You should try. We'll help you, right?" Okay. So you'd have your huge life preserver on, your life jacket, and they'd be like, "Okay, we're going to throw you the rope." And I've got old sampler on my shirt. They'd throw you like this nylon rope with a handle on it. And they'd be like, "Okay, sit way back in the water, way back in the water. You got to sit way back because if you sit too far forward, it's just going to pull you on your face," which is terrifying to be dragged behind a boat. So you have to sit way back in the water with all your weight as far back as you can go. And then when you're ready, you yell, "Hit it," and you give the thumbs up, meaning like, hit it. Go, I'm ready. And then you would just hear this giant, right? They would just lean on the gas. And then because I didn't weigh a lot. I was very thin, but not muscular. I was just like a thin, tall, nerdy girl who preferred cross stitch. And I'm in the lake with the fish and the clams, and I'm leaning back, and I've got this really bulky life preserver on, and I'm holding onto this rope for dear life. And I'm sitting back as best I can, and the thing starts and it jerks you, right? And the idea is that you then stand up on the water, which is insanity that you can stand on the water. And you've got these huge skis that are like wanting to cross. You have to try to keep them straight, otherwise you do the splits or you cross them over. And so I just remember pretty much getting dragged through the water on my face at like 40 miles an hour for a good 100 yards, because you want to get up, but like what they don't tell you is like at which point do you just let go and give up for that time. And there's always this hope that like maybe if I hang on long enough, somehow I will pop up out of the water and perfectly be able to ski. I did get up one time and it was pretty fun, but I was like, okay, that one and done. And it's just like, it's like you don't want to let go because you're in a lake and it's deeper where you are now than where you were back then. And you don't, I didn't think I was going to drown. It's just like your mind goes crazy places when you're getting dragged on your face through Minnesota lake water. And it's like in your nose and in your ears and in your eyes, and you're got the sunscreen on, and it's just been a long day. And anyway, that's a little what like market season feels like. That's kind of what I was thinking when I was putting this together, is like that whole idea of like prepping and like, okay, do this, don't do this, don't do this. And then it's just getting dragged. And anyway, you get through it. You get through it. And so that's a Minnesota lake country memory that I have from my youth, is just not really being able to get the hang of water skiing. I think it's part of why I fell in love with my husband. He could do it on one ski, and also I think he barefoot skied a couple times, which is crazy. I could never do that, but I can make colonial knots, and I'm a good cook, which is maybe why he fell in love with me, possibly. I looked great in a swimsuit too, by the way. Okay, so tell me something about a memory of your childhood, and then we're going to get to the last thing, and then I'm going to cut you loose because you don't want to listen to me all weekend. 3 things in my shop. So the Blackbird Designs fabrics came in. Like I said, I still have a bunch of them, and while I was working with them some time ago, I noticed that if you group them the right way, it looks like a 4th of July pack of fabrics. So these are all Blackbird fabrics in the line, and I made a listing where you get 8 full yards, plus you get a bonus. I'm not going to tell you what the bonus is, but you get a bonus surprise with the pack. And so you've got like the blue with the stars. You've got the indigo sampler fabric. So pretty. This is really one of my favorites in the line. It's just this blue. I'm so into blue this summer. I can't even tell you. And then you get one of the red sampler fabrics. Also so pretty. You get a parchment sampler fabric. You get a fully red sampler fabric, which is really, really cute. You get red and parchment polka dots, and I thought red stripes would be, now I think technically this color is called rose. It's a real deep red rose kind of a color. So anyway, you get that whole pack. It's $99. You get 8 yards plus a bonus. And I think as of right now, I had 6 of these left. I can make more, but I think a couple of these fabrics, once I run out, I'm not going to be able to get more. So those are on my site. Another thing that I've got in my shop is I've got these, so I've got these kits from Reflet de Soie. And they come from France, and she is so, so nice. But I've got this kit, I don't have many left, called the French Summer. She only made a couple hundred. I think I bought 75 of them, and I've got maybe, I don't know how many left, a dozen maybe. And so what you get inside it is, it's kind of like my advent calendar. You get one, she says one a week, but we're already partway into summer, so just open them at your leisure. But there's different stitching goodies in this pack. And when they're gone, they're gone. But then I also do have left Rouge Toujours, which is another pack that comes with sampler goodies. You get a whole packet of sampler goodies, including an exclusive chart. And it's not a kit. It's a packet of fun things relating to red samplers. And then Rouge Toujours means always red. Red always. Right, Zero? And then I've got Les Douces Couleurs du Printemps, which means, I think, the sweet colors of spring. And again, this is a little kit that comes with, it comes with a really darling chart of sampler chickens, and then other good little goodies in there too. Again, it's kind of a blind box where you don't know what you're going to get until you get it. But I've got some of those left too if you miss out on the one that's the French summer pack. I'm glad she's doing stuff like that. It's really fun to see that stuff come in. And then the last thing that I've got in my shop is I have just made a listing today for the Navajo Quilt project. And I got this neat little pamphlet kind of thing from Moda, specifically French General, about the Navajo Quilt project. And I think I got this when I was getting ready for market. So it was like something I put on the back burner. And now that I've had kind of a quiet week, I went ahead and dealt with it, right? So I'm just going to read this to you so you can learn about it. So it says, the Navajo Quilt Project was started over 5 years ago by French General to bring awareness and supplies to Navajo quilters and help provide them with the essential quilting and sewing supplies they need for their livelihood. The Navajo Nation is the largest Indian reservation in the U.S., comprising of about 16 million acres or 25,000 square miles. Carrie has worked with master quilter Susan Hudson to make sure senior centers are receiving supplies so that they can be distributed to remote areas throughout Arizona, New Mexico, and Utah. Susan explained the necessity of this project. Some of us live hours away from a fabric store. Our reservation is so vast that the border towns can be over 100 miles away. The elders are on a fixed income and they cannot afford to pay $11 a yard or buy an expensive sewing machine. A lot of them do not have running water, internet, indoor plumbing, or electricity. They sew by hand or they use a treadle sewing machine. Working with Carrie and the Navajo Quilt Project, the donations from people all over the country have made life a little easier for the elders. As the Navajo Quilt Project continues, there's an opportunity to help improve the lives of Navajo quilters. We hope this project will eventually provide an income to grandmothers, daughters, and mothers who are able to make something that can then be used to sell or trade for needed supplies. So I have set up a page on my site, and you'll find it in the What's New section, to donate fabric to this Navajo Quilt Project. And when I got this, I was like, I have fabric. And so the way that I'm doing it is you can purchase 1, 2, 5 yards, 1 yard, 2 yards, 5 yards, or a bolt, and I'm selling it at my wholesale cost. So I'm not making money on it, and I also am going to donate the shipping to ship any donated fabric to the project. I have sent an email to the organizers to ask if there are colors or fabric patterns that are more helpful. I figure this will get them clean, brand new, large pieces of fabric that they can use for backings or for making their quilt projects. So if you're placing an order and you want to throw a yard in with your order, it's just $6.25. And once I get together enough to fill a big box, I'll ship it to them. And I have sent them a number of questions about how they'd like to receive it. But I just thought that was kind of a neat, not really a fundraiser, but we could do our own little drive and help get them some great fabric for their projects. I think it would be cool in the future. I have asked them specifically, like, do they have a need for machines? That is something maybe we could figure out how to do, or other supplies like maybe needles or quilt batting, that kind of a thing too. So I will add to it as I find out more information. But for right now, I'm just doing the drive for yardage of fabric. So if you just add 1 yard, it's $6. But it really helps somebody out in America. And that's a great thing. I guess I have, before I leave, I took them out and I guess I was going to show them and I never did. I never really did. I didn't do a market video. I was just too busy. I had no more time left to make a video. And so some of my models I don't even have anymore. I send a lot of them with Lindy at the Silver Needle, and so if you end up through Tulsa, you can see a lot of my models there. But I did get these two back from the frame shop this week. This was the Jane Summer sampler that I reproduced that was came out at market. And I really love this frame. It's a burlwood veneer frame, nice and heavy, and it's protected behind museum glass now and a spacer. And so I'm going to hang that up this weekend. I brought the, let's see, I think I brought the chart. For some reason, it just kind of reminds me of the 4th of July. I don't know if it's all the red, but that's available as a chart to stitch it. And this is that's the model. So it looks quite a bit like the original. I was pretty pleased with how that came out. Chris Canaday stitched the model. There's the original on the back. So there's that chart. And then I got this one back from the Frame Shop too. This is Cathcart Cahoon, which also came out at market. Again, it's behind Museum Glass and Spacers. This one is quite a bit older. It was stitched in 1785, and it's just a lovely Scottish sampler. I love the man and the woman at the center, but it's really, I don't know, it's very charming. I like these little flowers that peek up from the corners, and that one is also available as a chart that looks like this. And I had these professionally printed through Bolte Hall in Kansas. It's kind of a cool, I tried to kind of do some neat things with it. But it's a full color chart with instructions and commentary. And then on the list of things to do, so these also came out at market. I had this project called Two by Julia, and the models are, I think, with Lindy. So that was also a professionally printed book from Bolte Hall. It was 2 samplers that I bought that were stitched by the same girl. I think the booklet turned out really, really nice. I love doing these. There's more on the way. There's more where this came from, I guess, is what I will say. So it comes with the full color chart and commentary. And I thought I'd show you the originals. That's one of the originals, Julia Reed. They're stitched in wools. Mine are stitched in overdyed cottons. And so there's that one. It's got a neat hunter in there and a pheasant. And then this one. So the only thing that I'm hesitating with these, with the framing, is I really ended up really liking the way this one turned out in the reproduction. It's got a super charming, this flower, when I was charting it, I was like, oh, I'm not so sure I like that. I freaking love it. It's so pretty, and the colors are just so nice. And look at how the border is just so cheerful. I like the light patch in the center of each strawberry. And the colors in both, they're complementary. They were stitched by the same stitcher using a lot of the same threads. See? And they're the same size. So they are on the original stretcher bars. And this fillet is somehow attached to the front of the needlework. So I'm kind of terrified to pull that off for fear of breaking it. I probably will end up framing these on the original stretcher bars with this fillet in the center. They did come in frames that I'm not super fond of. They're kind of too shallow, and I don't know. They're not original. They're not the original frames, so I wouldn't be afraid about donating those frames to charity. I just have to decide what I want to do with those. And I also had this chart that came out at market too, that was the bottom of the Jane Summers chart, and so that's just a different. Oh, but I do have this model. This was one Lindy didn't take, and so that's the bottom of the sampler, done on a darker fabric, and I changed up the colors a little bit and like filled in this band to make it a little bit more stand-outy. Anyway, so those were some of my market things that I have that you guys never got to see. Okay, I think that's everything. I'm very glad to be here. Very glad to put myself in front of all your shiny little faces. And I hope and pray it's not December by the time I check in again. Just remember, I'm always here as part of the community. When you don't see me, that's when I'm really the most active in terms of taking care of everybody and all the good things that they want. So until next time, we'll see you later. Bye.